Hi dear students. So today we are going to discuss the second kingdom of living things, that is your plant kingdom. Okay, so just imagine you are just standing in the middle of the forest and all around you there are tall trees, some small bushes, green moss on the rocks, maybe some colorful flowers. You take deep breath and then fresh air fill your lungs. Do you know who gave you that oxygen? Yes, plants. Okay, plants are like the life givers of our planet. They are very important. Okay, without them, humans, animals, even insects, we all would not survive. And the scientists have discovered more than 3,80,000 species of plant. That's you can say such a big number, right? Imagine lining up 3,80,000 plants like a parade would just stretch for miles and miles. So, today let's explore how scientists divide plants into groups and then zoom into study of some of the mysterious ones that don't make flowers. So, by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to, you can say, understand about the two types of, you can say, plants, or two groups of plant, that is your flowering plant and non-flowering plants. Okay, as we discussed earlier that scientists have organized all the living things into different groups and then there are subgroups as well. Okay, so if we talk about the two main groups of plant kingdom, so you can say there are two. One is your flowering plant and second one is your non-flowering plant. Okay, that's it, just two huge groups. Now let's break it down. If we talk about the flowering plants are the one, the best. They grow colorful flowers, roses, like roses, sunflowers, apple trees, mango trees as well, etc. And flowers are not just pretty, they are like the factories making seed. Okay, and those seeds grow into new plants. Okay, in flowering plants the seeds are safe inside the fruit. For example, think about an apple. Inside the apple fruit you find the apple seeds, right? On the other hand, if we talk about the non-flowering plants, these are like the quiet team. They don't grow flowers at all. Okay, they don't have any flowers, and many of them, you can say, many of them don't even make seeds. Instead, they use special trick. They make spores. Spores, in a sense, you can say spores are so tiny, like invisible dust particles that float around and start new plants. Okay, so basically, non-flowering plants don't produce any flowers. Okay, but the flowering plant, as you know by the name, they have the flowers and all the seeds are enclosed in the fruits or flowers. Okay, well, let's discuss the first one, non-flowering plants. Okay, let's discuss the non-flowering plants first. Okay, so these plants are all around us, but many times we don't notice them. They don't show off with the colorful petals. Instead, they are, you can say, quietly grow in damp corners, forests, and even underwater as well. Okay, and they are so important because you can say they were among the first plants ever to live on earth, like million of years ago, before the flowering plants even existed. So let's take a look at, you can say, some of the non-flowering plants. Okay, some of the examples are mosses. Okay, mosses, ferns, and algae or algae. If we talk about mosses, have you ever seen a rock or an old wall covered in the soft green fuzz? Maybe you have saw that. That's moss. Okay, mosses are like the tiny soft plants that grow in moist, shady areas. They don't have, you can say, proper roots or any stems or leaves like the big plants. Instead, they are very simple. Okay, and they reproduce using spores, as I told you, dust like particles. Okay, and not seeds. They don't have any seeds. And if we talk about the mosses in detail, you can say they absorb up to 20 times its weight in water. Okay, imagine a sponge soaking up the water in your kitchen. Moss work the same way in nature. That's why you can say after it rains moss feels so wet and squishy. In ancient times people actually use the moss as a, you can say, natural bandage, because you can say it's soft and it's hold moisture. So next time you see moss, just don't step over it, think of it as a nature tiny sponge. Okay, let's move to the ferns, another example of non-flowering plant. Okay, let's move to the fern. If a moss is a soft carpet, then ferns are like the feathery decorations of the forest. Okay, they are like, you can say, they have beautiful leaves. Ferns have beautiful leaves called fronds. On the underside of these fronds you will often find the little brown spots. These are the spore cases. That's where a new fern plant come from. Okay, ferns are very old. In fact, they were around during the age of dinosaurs. So if you look at a fern, you see something that T-Rex might have walked past million of years ago. And some ferns can grow very large as well. In tropical forest, tree ferns can reach the height of 30 feet or more, taller than your school building. Amazing, isn't it? Okay, let's move to the algae. When we see green slime floating on a pond or you can say on a wet rocks, that's algae. But algae aren't always small or slimy. Sometimes you can say like seaweed can grow many meters long in the ocean. Okay, so there are different kind of algae as well. Okay, every, you can say, plant species or every plant on this planet has its different kinds. Okay, they have different species, their sizes varies. Okay, and you can say their appearance varies, the colors vary. Okay, everything you can say varies according to the area or according to the climate. Okay, okay. Algae mostly, you can say, live in water, both fresh water and oceans, and some are like tiny single celled organisms, other are huge and leafy. Okay, and they are extremely important because they make a huge amount of world's oxygen, even more than trees in some areas. Okay, so they are super important, and scientists believe that the algae were among the first living things to start making oxygen on earth. Without them, life as we know it might never have started. So yes, even the slimy green stuff in the pond is actually a hero in disguise. Okay, so here is something very interesting, like not all non-flowering plants are simple like moss, ferns or algae. Some are actually very strong trees that make seeds, but their seeds are different. Okay, if we talk about them, so these plants are called gymnosperms. Can everyone repeat that slowly? Gymnosperms. Okay, the word comes from, you can say, Greek language. Gymno means naked and sperm means seed. So these are the naked plant seeds. What does it mean? It means their seeds are not hidden inside any fruits, right? As you can see here in the picture, it's a cone. Okay, it doesn't have any flower or it's not fruit as well, but you can say the seeds are, you can say, not enclosed in any kind of fruit or flower, and you can say they are exposed usually inside the cones, as you can see here. Okay, so gymnosperms means naked seed plants because they don't have any fruit or flower in which they are enclosed. Okay, for example, if we take example, first of all, there are pine trees. Okay, so pine trees, you might have seen pine trees, they have needle like leaves and produce cones, right? If you ever held a pine cone, you were holding a seed container, it has a lot of seeds in it. Okay, then comes the spruce trees, like these are the tall evergreen, often used as Christmas trees. Have you ever seen a Christmas tree? Yeah, that's your spruce tree. Then comes cycads. Cycads are, you can say, they look a bit like palm trees, but you can say they are ancient gymnosperm that existed alongside the dinosaurs. Also they are very ancient as well. Okay, as I've told you, most of the non-flowering plants are very old. Okay, so some gymnosperm live for thousands of years. So I hope you understand about the non-flowering plants. So we will just wrap up our lecture here. We will discuss the flowering plants in our next lecture. So let's wrap up this. So we discussed that plants are divided into two big groups, flowering and non-flowering plants. So non-flowering plants don't produce flowers. Many reproduce by spores, the dust like particles. Okay, and some examples are mosses, these are the nature sponge, and ferns, they have feathery fronds like and they are very ancient plants. And algae, you can say algae are the water plants, and they are, you can say, oxygen producers of the earth. And so some non-flowering plants make seeds, but their seeds are not inside fruits. Okay, and they are gymnosperms like naked plant seeds like pine, spruce and cycads. Okay, so let's end our lecture here. In our next lecture we will discuss the flowering plants.